Hi everyone, welcome and thanks for joining me in this video. I'm Julius Tumamak and I have been teaching for 16 years now. In this video, I'll be sharing three things. First is about my most valued teaching philosophy. So this is basically about what I do in the classroom and how I deliver lessons to my students and make them learn in a very meaningful way. Then aside from that, I'll be sharing also the parts of the lesson plan which is vital for a teacher to have because it serves as the roadmap in teaching. Then the last thing that I'm going to share is the testament that I have been able to make a difference in young people's lives through teaching. And I'm so excited about it. So let's get started. Now, with my experience in teaching and classroom management, I can say I already have sufficient understanding about the why and how in teaching. Our learners are the core in education, hence, they must be taught and trained to become well rounded individuals, equipped with the necessary knowledge, skills, and values. So, everything that I do to my learners in the classroom has always been anchored to these three philosophies which can help them develop their full potential and eventually would make them useful and fully functional individuals in the society. First, as a teacher, it is so pivotal to remember that we are not mere depositors of knowledge and understanding, and that our students should not be treated like depositories. Learning should take place in a way that our learners are made to experience what is being taught to them, and as much as possible, I always encourage them to think, to analyze, to solve, to act, to perform during the learning process. And it's called engagement. Learning is more effective if it brings them to the actual and outside world rather than having learners boxed in the four corners of the classroom. Second, I firmly believe that every child is capable of learning, so the natural desire he has needs to be aroused. Learners must be highly interested in learning the lesson because everything about them has to start well so that it can have great end. Therefore, a teacher as a facilitator of learning has to address the different learning styles and needs of everyone in the classroom. So what I do in order to make it happen is to give differentiated tasks to be sure that it suits and reaches their learning ability. This is indeed in accordance with the philosophy of Dr. Howard Gardner, which aims to address the different learning styles of every child because of the so-called multiple intelligences. I have to say that it's not easy and it's quite challenging on our part to, manage learners with varied interests and at the same time how to make the lesson and learning activity interesting and enjoyable to them. These teaching ideologies have tested my creativity, resourcefulness, and my ability to innovate so that I can meet the learning needs in an enjoyable manner. Lastly, every child in the classroom has to be trained to become an outside of the box thinker because this is one of the major purpose of education to become productive and great contributors of the society is expected from these young ones. So they need to be exposed to reality and situations where it is appropriate for them to be in. Empirical orientation with them will help them think critically. So it is very important that a teacher can arouse their curiosity because it is where everything begins. So for this, I always make sure that I stand with them in every step of the way because as they go through the process of learning, normally they still need the guidance and support of the more knowledgeable others, but not to the extent that everything is just fed to them. For them to be directed on what to do, so I only scaffold and not do the whole thing for them. Then, in addition, it is very imperative that a teacher has a very deep understanding about classroom management and child discipline in a way that it does not suppress learners. Um, Basically, a child-friendly classroom must be established and every learner should feel that he or she is safe, cared, and there's the sense of belongingness. Now, the second part of this video, I'm going to talk about the key components of a good lesson plan. A lesson plan is essential for every teacher to have because it serves as the Bible and guide in whatever learning activities you are planning to do with the students in the classroom. Hence, it is so vital that a teacher knows what features to focus on and what are the most important parts of a good lesson plan. So I believe the following must be observed. Number one is motivation. First thing first, every learner must be very interested in learning the lesson before anything else can follow because learners are most likely to learn if they understand first the importance of learning the lesson and why they should learn it. This can be done by connecting the lesson to real life situations, something that a learner can right away relate. Second, the activities. Of course, learners must enjoy the process of learning, and they are the ones who should perform the learning activities so that it can always turn out to be meaningful learning. Learning is more effective and unforgettable if the learners are engaged in the process and they create meaningful experience. Number three, assessment or evaluation. Learning has to be measured in order for the teacher to find out how effective teaching has been and at the same time how much learning students have gained. So this is basically done in a form of test or exam. The result of assessment or evaluation will then be the basis for further planning in regards to the preparation of the next lesson or learning activity. Then necessarily I often include also the assignment part so that students can prepare for the next lesson or they can continue the part of the current lesson which has not been completely carried out. Now moving on to the last part of this video, let me share with you a story of inspiration in making a difference on a person's life using the teaching profession as a leverage. The genuine fulfillment of being a teacher can be measured by how much you have touched lives of the students and how much you have inspired them to do what's good and proper. The real scenario is that I have been teaching students coming from families with low economic status, learners who are not academically advanced, and the worst is these learners lack the motivation because of their difficult situation and the family. However, as an educator, my job is not only to deliver lessons, but more than ever to inspire them. I can remember I had encountered this kind of a learner during my first 2 years of teaching, and I must say that it was not easy for her, knowing she is both financially and physically challenged. But more than the financial support I could offer to her, I think the bigger help I was able to give is certain amount of motivation and inspiration because I believe this is powerful enough to keep one's faith and determination to just go on and complete the education. Now this student I had before is now a licensed teacher. I'm just so proud to say that she has never forgotten to include me in the list of those people whom she wanted to thank. And she would always say that she has never forgotten to all the pieces of advice and I was giving to her and all the discipline and values I was instilling. So for that, I am more grateful to say that as a teacher, I think I have grown a lot also on the basis of seeing my students doing well in their respective field. So that's all for now, and I hope I have shared enough here my beliefs, ideologies, principles as a facilitator of learning and a model of good character and source of inspiration to these young people who are the future professionals and leaders in the society. So bye and have a great time always, and I hope to see you in my next video.